welcome back to the SOTA Pop podcast. This is our second episode of season 2. Today we have a very, very special guest with us. He is known as the godfather of Shoals hip hop, and he's been really involved around, and we'll get into that later, but let's just have a big welcome, Laney, for GMANE.
Hey. Thank you for having me. Thank you for coming.
Mm-hmm. I know we were in talks of having you last year, but our schedule got kind of full. But we're so glad to have you this year because of actually what we're going to talk about. We actually are going to talk about a program that's going on at the Florence Lauderdale Public Library pretty soon. The I Have a Voice program. But first, we want to hear a little bit about you. So, you are originally from the Shoals, right?
Yeah, born and raised right here in Florence.
So, you've been in the hip-hop industry for a pretty long time. I know you released your full album, at least I read, in 94, is that right?
Yep.
94. So
well that was actually the first barcoded product, we made a lot of tapes and stuff, before that.
Oh yeah.
The first actual we about to do business was 94.
That's actually really cool. That's almost 3 decades of music that you've been working in.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's a long time. That's longer than a lot of people can even stay in music. It's a hard industry, and since you've made it that far, that's impressive. And I'm not
Thank you.
That's really impressive.
I appreciate that. Thank you. It's been hard. It ain't always been good, but you know what I mean? It's always been good to me because, it's just what I love to do. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So people say, if you could do it without making money, would you do it? And I guess, yeah, because I did it a long time without making any money. So, yeah, it's just what I love to do.
Mm-hmm. Especially I'm going to touch on that a little bit, especially in the Shoals area where hip-hop is just now starting to be more of a recognized, genre where people are actually understanding it. And, I know because a lot of times people will just kind of shrug it off and be like, they just won't recognize how powerful it is. And you're being a part of bringing it to life in the Shoals is really cool. And that's actually something else we're going to talk about. Laney, you want to get into the Alabama Music Hall of Fame?
So you were actually part of the first hip-hop exhibit there.
Yes.
So how did that feel when you found that out?
I never thought I'd see it. Not only would I see it, in my lifetime, because, most of the people in the Hall of Fame, ghosts on the wall, but, I never thought I would even see hip-hop in the Alabama Music Hall of Fame. So for them to even call and say, hey, we want to do this, it's just surreal. It's just surreal. It's hard to describe, but, I was on top of the world.
Yeah, I bet.
For sure. And you've had some other successes too. Like you were actually featured on a track in the Grand Theft Auto 5 video game.
Yeah. And that was crazy. That was just a blessing in disguise. It kind of just happened. It wasn't something that we were out pushing for. Or, we just kind of got a call about it. And, it was like, okay, let's do it.
Oh yeah, and that's crazy. So if you guys are ever playing Grand Theft Auto, the track is called Relaxin'.
And so the G side and GMANE, and it's on Radio Los Santos. So
for sure.
Another question we had because you're so big into this world now, like when you were younger, what artists kind of inspired you to get into hip hop and everything like that?
Well, I think you got to understand, before I was 7, 8 years old, it wasn't no rap, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There was none of that. So we came up on like George Clinton, Parliament, Funkadelic, and Cameo, and like my dad was a DJ, so like I got a chance to hear everything. You know what I mean? He DJ on the radio and he DJ different clubs around the city. And you know, earlier in his earlier years, you know, he even played in a band. Like he played piano and drums and guitar and played them all by ear. So.
Wow.
I mean, I think that was really probably my first inspiration. And like I said, just those groups that I first mentioned, and I think like the first record that I ever owned that was really mine was a group called Musical Youth. I think like their most popular song, if you've ever heard of a song called Pass the Dutchie to the left hand side. Yeah. Like if you ever, but that was a group of kids, you know what I'm saying, singing that song. But, you know, groups like that, and I think probably like the first hip hop record was The Rapper's Delight, so of course that, but you know, like Run DMC, LL Cool J, Big Daddy Kane, Chuck D from Public Enemy, and Ice-T, and you know, Scarface from Ghetto Boys. That's like my favorite rapper. So I mean, you know, just coming up, it was a lot of New York, then a lot of West Coast, then a lot of down south. And, it's a lot. It's a lot.
So one of the things like that this episode is about is the I Have a Voice exhibit at the Florence Lauderdale Public Library. What that exhibit is kind of like it's all about, you know, the African American musical heritage in the Tennessee area. So like artists like B.B. King, Bessie Smith, Tina Turner, people like that, and it's all trying to like show how culturally involved all the music is, and it's not just hip hop as well. It's, you know, there's R&B, there's blues, there's rock and roll, there's soul. It's so much more. So what we want to know, you're part of this, and you're going to be at the library on September 5th talking about history of the Shoals area hip hop. So can you like give a little insight on what kind of you're gonna like talk about in there, or do you want to like?
Well, I can tell you the beginning, like Shoals hip hop starts for me with Pete Key. I don't know if any of y'all know Pete Key. Like he's a speaker now. Like, you know, he does public speaking, and but back then, like, that was the first guy I ever heard that, like, when he rapped, it sounded like the guys that were on the radio and on the videos. And he was, like, the first guy that, like, was going out to Atlanta and, you know, working with different acts. And, you know, we would go out and see him sometime. And, you know, he was really, really, really doing it. Just showed me that this is something that you can really do. The other guy was... a guy named Ron Harrison. We call him DJ Chub Fresh. He used to work at Pegasus, you know, when it was open. But I mean, that was like the guy that I started out with, you know, and I mean like 9, 10, 11 years old, like just trading music with each other. And then, like, you know, it developed into where he got the DJ equipment, and, you know, we kind of got like I started as a DJ, so we kind of owned our DJ skills together. And, you know, once he got like drum machine stuff like that, it kind of forced me into being the rapper. Like he was gonna do the music and be the DJ, so, you know, he needed an MC, so it kind of forced me to be the MC. And you know, we'll stop right there. Yeah, the rest you have to come to the library and, you know, check it out.
Yeah, most definitely come and see, and, you know, come and hear him, and go support this exhibit as well. Because, I mean, there's a lot of history that are going around here in Florence just because of, you know, fame, and you have Muscle Shoal Sound as well. But also just around the entire, like, Tennessee region, just being able to, you know, celebrate this music that we've been able to be gifted with, to be able to listen to. And if you haven't listened to some of that music, you should, because, I mean, oh my goodness. Some of the stuff that you even mentioned, I like absolutely love listening to, and a lot of people find it weird, but you definitely, you know, dive into different kind of music, you know, branch out just outside of your musical interest, but also go see this so you can also understand what it was like, you know, to go through that kind of thing.
Because you know, African American music started with slavery, and they were releasing all their feelings that they were having, all the pain that they were feeling into the music. So, what they did then kind of set what music was, because now when you write a song, it's filled with meaning, even if like somebody, like if you're like the most generic pop song has some sort of meaning to somebody. So, it's not just, it might be bad, it might be the same note over and over and over and over again for the entire song, 3 minutes long, but it has meaning to somebody, and it's not just that note, it's deeper than that.
Yeah. So
always make sure not to judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people tend to do that with hip hop, but with hip hop, it's more about the story.
Yeah, most definitely.
It's definitely about the story. So next time you're hearing a hip hop track, don't skip it just because you don't like it. Listen to the words, and you'll be able to feel like what that artist is feeling, because they let all their emotions out into their music. So, but moving on, there's another part of this I Have a Voice exhibit that I just kind of want to let you guys in on. So the School of the Arts, we actually, Dr. Brown and his wife, Dr. Beebe, and Karen Cantrell, they're all going to be there as well. They'll be there on September 10th. And they're going to be doing a Dream with Me, which is kind of like a lecture recital for the Walk With Me Foundation. Definitely go check that out as well, because first of all, Dr. Brown, Dr. Beebe, and Karen, they're all awesome people. So go check them out as well.
And they've all been involved in the podcast as well. Actually, all of them have been guests. So most definitely come and support them, and also watch those podcasts so you can know a little bit about them before going and see them. Yeah.
But this is going to be a great event, and we definitely want you guys to come out. It's September 5th is when GMANE is going to be there. September 8th, we'll have an African-American music and the military life. So that's going to be interesting as well, especially if you're into military stuff. And then September 10th is the Dream With Me. So go check out all of that as well. And I kind of want to ask GMANE a little more questions, because I've read a lot about him, and he's really interesting, because he's been around in the Shoals area for so long. He's been through the entire hip hop movement in the Shoals, which is crazy. So you started in the early 90s with you were in a group. Is that
right? Slave Camp. Yeah.
And now you're on your own now. I kind of want to know, how was the transition from like early 90s in the Shoals area coming around to now? What was like that transition like? What have you seen change in that time period?
The biggest change, like I think back then, like there were more venues where you could actually see some hip hop. I mean, I guess it was. I can't really say it was a big open arms thing. Like, you can come in, but if you had the money to rent out a space, you could rent out a space and do it. Then there were a few clubs that used to be open to what we were doing, but it just kind of fell off. You know what I mean? And it's not just with hip hop. Everybody's fighting to get in a venue right now. You know what I mean? No matter what genre, but the venues, we got to pick that up. And I think really like honestly, we flew under the radar for years and years and years. Like you said, hip hop around here is really kind of just now getting recognized and getting some recognition. Because I mean, like a few years back, maybe 5-6 years ago, I was doing an interview with the paper, and people was just asking, like, how did y'all do all this? You know what I mean? Like, we had, like, people never knew, like, our studio was above Pegasus. And I mean, it wasn't just a place where we were recording. Like, we had an office and studio, rehearsal spot. We used to have meetings with people. We used to travel. You know what I mean? It was a real business. You know what I mean? And we treated it as a business, and we made some money. You know what I mean? And but as people grow and get older and start getting married and having families, and you know, they started to want to branch out and do other things. And, you know, a lot of the guys just moved away. So, you know what I mean? But like I said, it's just something I always wanted to do. And I kind of realized that, you know, me and my wife, we talked about moving away a lot. But then it was like, you know, no matter where I lived, I was going to have to travel. So, you know, and, you know, she ended up being a professor here at one of the colleges. So, you know, I always went everywhere I needed to go and stayed however long I needed to stay and came on back home. You know what I mean?
And you even went to high school here.
Yeah,
well.
I went to coffee when there was a coffee. Class of 92. Then I left. I went to University of Alabama down in Tuscaloosa. And then I came back home and I went to UNA for a while. That's really when they first started this arts program and had a studio and did music business classes. And, you know, we were able to take advantage of that, you know, when it first started. So to see where this has even come to, you know, it's just amazing to me. You know what I mean? Like we actually recorded one of our first tapes, you know, in that studio. So, I mean, and back then it was just reel-to-reel tape, you know, to see it's all fully digital and everything now. So, you know, to know that they're keeping up with the times, and, you know what I mean? And like I said, even with this podcast, you know, just to see it all grow, see the program grow like this, you know, it's just great. It's great.
Yeah, and we're really glad you decided to stay here in the Shoals because you and your wife are really involved. Like, your wife's on the Crossroads Committee.
Right.
And you guys actually, I don't know if you still do this, but I was reading, you guys were doing, you know, free Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah,
well.
we still do that. We still do it. We be going on our 5th or 6th year this year doing it. And Christmas, we do a Coats for Kids drive. So, you know, people donate coats, or, you know, people that, some people donate the money that we don't use that's donated for Thanksgiving. We go buy coats, and, you know, we just go out, and the kids that are in DHR or just anybody that's in need, you know, I get a lot of people just inbox me, you know, ain't no shame in it. You know what I mean? It's hard times out here, and sometimes you can't get everything all the time. So, you know, we just try to provide that help, man. And, you know, as far as the Thanksgiving, that was just something that was brought to me. A friend of mine, you know, it was just him and his grandmother, you know what I mean? And like his grandmother had passed, and, you know, he got kind of funny around the holidays. So it was like, man, we ought to just start doing something, you know, for people because it's not just me feeling like this, I know. And so we started doing that, you know, and I mean, it's for the homeless or just anybody feeling lonely, or, you know, for students that don't get to go home during the holidays. So we have a big crowd. I think we started out feeding maybe 150, 200. It's grown now to about 500. So, plus we added the delivery. So, you know, we got volunteers to come out, and, you know, wherever we need them to go, they take plates, and it's just a great thing. And I'm just glad to be able to give back, you know. I've been blessed, so I try to be a blessing, you know, anytime I can.
Right, and I love seeing things like that because, like he said, there are a lot of people who might be alone on Thanksgiving, who, you know, might not have a place that they can go just to eat, you know, their Thanksgiving meal and not feel alone on such a you know, thankful day that's, you know, made for spending with family, to be thankful. And, you know, I can't imagine, you know, if I had to spend Thanksgiving without my family, I don't know how I would feel, honestly. So having an opportunity like he's providing for, like, with, you know, the Thanksgiving meals and also the coats as well, I couldn't imagine not being able to, you know, wear a coat when it's cold.
Not being able to, especially here in Florence, where it gets kind of colder than.
It'll get cold out of nowhere, and you know, if you don't have anything, you could.
Hey, that's for real. And I mean, like we get adult coats, so, you know, we're able to like with Crossroads. I usually take when I get adult coats, I take them over to Crossroads, and she makes sure, you know, Kim Jackson over there, she makes sure whoever needs them gets them. You know what I mean? So. Like I said, you never know. Like, one year I got like 20 suits. Somebody donated like 20 cents, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do with all these suits? And I got a call probably that next day somebody had a house fire and lost everything. So, and I let him try the suits on, and he could fit them, and so I gave him all of them. You know, so you know what I mean. So
amazing, yeah.
I mean, you never know. You just never know. Going back to the Thanksgiving, like after that first or second year, I was almost like, I'm not gonna do this again. But at the end of the day, this lady came up to my wife and was like, I'm really glad y'all did this right here, and I was able to come because, you know, I don't have no family around here, and I was thinking about committing suicide today.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, somebody went out there and picked her up and, you know what I mean, brought her down there so she could eat, and just being able to fellowship with some people and, you know, have a nice meal and just be around some people, you know what I mean, that really made her day. So, you know, we just kept it going, and like I said, we going on like our 5th or 6th year, so we're going to do it again.
We really, really, really want to thank you for coming and talking with us and sharing, you know, a little bit of your story, as well as, you know, helping the hip hop industry as well, because, you know, we want to be able to include everybody in the arts, and we want it to grow. We want it to really grow.
Yeah. And I think one question before we start, you know, tying this all together is, do you have any advice for like young adults that are also wanting to pursue hip hop and kind of, you know, wanting to get in that industry?
All I can say is it's hard. They make it look easy. It ain't easy. Like my partner Cody said, you know, make sure you can pay your bills if this is what you're gonna do, because you know, the light man don't care nothing about your CD coming out. You know what I mean? So, like I said, just make sure that this is what you want to do, and you know, because it's a hard job for real. It's a hard job. But you know, if you love it, don't chase the money. You know, the money gonna come. If you love what you're doing, put yourself in the right places, treat people right. You know what I mean? Do the right thing. Like the shirt say, keep your guard up.
You can see that.
Hey, keep your guard up. You know what I mean?
On the YouTube channel.
Just stay positive and just don't be negative, because it's a lot of negative, a lot of negative things out there, especially in this industry. And you know, a lot of that is, I think, what really kind of kept us independent. And you know, because you know, people, we had a couple of deal offers, and you know, it wasn't right. You know what I mean? So when we knew it wasn't right, and you know, you can't just jump at the excitement of, hey, you know, I had a record deal, and nah. Nah, you got to look between the lines, you know what I'm saying?
This podcast has been brought to you by UNA School of the Arts, produced by Mark Gallegos and Laney Green. Special thanks to Monica Collier and the SOTA staff.